In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace your rear brake hose on this Dodge Grand Caravan. Let's get started. With a 19mm socket, remove all 5 of your lug nuts and then remove the wheel. Remove the wheel. Now with the wheel off, I'm going to pinch off this old brake hose. Of course, I don't like to do this to the new brake hose, so I'm going to only do it to this one, but this will restrict the flow of brake fluid through here as we work so that we have a little bit more time. And then we're going to unbolt it off of the caliper first. Even with this pinched off, there's still brake fluid that's going to come out of here, so make sure you have a collection bucket to catch it. Now use an 11mm socket and break this free. Remove the banjo bolt completely. Okay, there we go. Take those washers off and inspect the bolt. Mine is in great condition. It's actually brand new, so I'm good to reuse it. If yours is rusted or damaged, then go ahead and replace it. You need this to be able to hold nice and tight on that caliper. Remove the ABS wire off of this brake hose. Now we have to remove the brake hose off of the brake line. However, before I do this, I'm going to install the new brake hose onto the caliper so that I can be ready to attach it here as soon as this comes undone so that I lose the least amount of brake fluid. Your new brake hose should have come with 2 new copper washers. Take the first one and put it right over the bolt, just like that. Then we're going to put the bolt through the line and then the second copper washer. Make sure you start this bolt by hand. The torque for this banjo bolt is 18 foot-pounds. Once again, 11mm socket. Now on the line side, have a collection bucket underneath because as soon as we crack this open, fluid will start to drip out. This is a 12mm flare nut. I recommend a flare nut wrench. It looks like this. It grabs onto an extra side as opposed to an open-ended wrench. And break this free. I already sprayed mine with rust penetrant. Once you do break it free, you can use an open-ended wrench and continue removing this fitting off of the line. All right, there we go. The fitting is loose. Line is out. Let's pop this clip out so we can release the hose. Take a little pry bar and just slide this out of here. Make sure not to lose it. This is what's going to secure your brake hose. Once you reattach it, there we go, pull that out. Brake hose just fell out. Sometimes they get stuck in there, in which case you just tap it with a hammer. But here's your brake hose. Remove your pliers if you used any to squeeze it. And let's install the new one before we lose too much brake fluid. Make sure the threads are good in here and clean. Take your new brake hose, slide it in, and spin this fitting to get it to thread on here. Once I thread it on a few turns, I'm just going to grab my wrench, and I'll use the wrench to tighten it up the rest of the way. The line needs to actually slide into this bracket. That's what this cutout is for at the top. I'm going to thread it on just a few more turns. There we go. And it is slotted, so you have to basically line up that slot, and only then will it go in all the way. Once it does, you can put this bracket back in, or the clip, the retainer clip. Tap it through all the way. Now that's secured, so we can finish tightening up that line. This should thread on nice and smooth. If it doesn't, that means it's cross-threading, so stop and start over. Just snug this up. Give it about a quarter turn after it bottoms out. That's how you know that the flare inside has squished just a little bit and is creating a nice tight seal. And now, of course, I'm going to clean this off with brake parts cleaner because as we bleed the brakes, which we will have to do after this, you're going to want to check for leaks. And if there is a leak, you're going to have to fix it because that would be bad. You could lose your brakes. And clip the ABS wire back in just to have it properly resecured. There we go. Now let's do a gravity brake bleed. Pop this cover off, or the cap off of the bleeder screw. Take your 11mm wrench, open this up, and we're going to let gravity pull fluid into the caliper, push all the air out of that line, and then of course we're going to want to do a manual brake bleed after that. To begin your manual brake bleed, make sure that your brake master cylinder is topped off with clean fluid. Then you're going to want to have a second person in the car pumping up the brake pedal as you open and close the bleeder screw. So after a few pumps, have them hold pressure on the brake pedal and open up the bleeder screw. At this point, air and fluid will come out. Once the pedal has reached the floor, close off the bleeder screw and have them pump up the brakes again. After 2 to 3 pumps, have them hold pressure on the brake pedal once again and open up the bleeder screw.
Repeat this procedure until no more air comes out of the caliper and you have only clean fluid. Once you get to that point, close off the bleeder screw and top off the master cylinder with clean fluid to make sure it's full.
Clean everything off nicely so that you don't confuse residual for a potential leak. Put this cap back on. Let's get the wheel back on. Put on all 5 of your lug nuts, bottom them out, and then we're going to torque them in a cross pattern to 100 foot-pounds. Once again, 100 foot-pounds in a cross pattern. Pump up your brakes and take it for a road test.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.